Okay, are we beginning? Looks good. Or not. Okay, I'm trying. Okay, I hope it doesn't flop. Okay, welcome to Reading with Amy. We're going to begin with chapter 1 of the book Heidi by Johannes Spiri, and we'll hope the lighting stays good for us. So here we go, up the mountain to Alm Uncle. From the old and pleasantly situated village of Mayenfeld, a footpath winds through green and shady meadows to the foot of the mountains, which on this side look down from their stern and lofty heights upon the valley below. The land grows gradually smaller. No, that's not what it says. The land grows gradually wilder as the path ascends, and the climber has not gone far before he begins to inhale the fragrance of the short grass and sturdy mountain plants, for the way is steep and leads directly up to the summits above. On a clear sunny morning in June, two figures might be seen climbing the narrow mountain path. A tall one, strong. Sorry, I messed up that sentence. Do-over. On a clear sunny morning in June, two figures might be seen climbing the narrow mountain path. One, a tall, strong-looking girl, and the other, a child whom she was leading by the hand, and whose little cheeks were so aglow with heat that the crimson color could be seen even through the dark, sunburnt skin. And this was hardly to be wondered at, for in spite of the hot June sun, the child was clothed, as if to keep off the bitterest frost. She did not look more than 5 years old, if as much, but what her natural figure was like, it would have been hard to say, for she had apparently 2, if not 3 dresses, one above the other. Over these, a thick red woolen shawl, wound round about her, so that the little body presented a shapeless appearance, as, with its small feet shod in thick-nailed mountain shoes, it slowly and laboriously plodded its way up in the heat. Just wait until you discover who is this. Oh, whoops. Who is this little child that doesn't seem to get to, I don't know, this poor child. Me and my, someday I'm going to need a stand. Who wants to sponsor that? I need a stand for this camera. Sorry. I'm sure there's some Asians out there somewhere that know how to set up some kind of clip to keep this thing from falling over. Let's keep trying. Maybe what I need is a box of marbles and that could do it. Okay. Back to the story. Back to, what was I trying to do that I was moving that thing around, messing it up? Okay. Page 2, actually page 16. In the story. Okay, the two must have left the valley a good hour's walk behind them when they came to the hamlet known as Dorfli, which is situated halfway up the mountain. Here the wayfarers met with greetings from all sides, some calling to them from windows, some from open doors, and others from outside, for the elder girl was now in her old home. She did not, however, pause in her walk to respond to her friends' welcoming cries and questions, but passed on without stopping for a moment until she reached the last of the scattered houses of the hamlet. Here a voice called to her from the door, "Wait a moment, D.T. If you're going up higher, I will come with you." The girl thus addressed stood still, and the child immediately let go her hand and seated herself on the ground. "Are you tired, Heidi?" asked her companion. "No, I am hot," answered the child. We shall soon get to the top now. You must walk bravely on a little longer and take good long steps, and in another hour we shall be there, said Diti in an encouraging voice. My voice is giving way. Oh. They were now joined by a stout, good-natured-looking woman who walked on ahead with her old acquaintance, the two breaking forth at once into lively conversation about everybody and everything in Dorfley and its surroundings, while the child wandered behind them. "And where are you off to with the child?" asked the one who had just joined the party. "I suppose it is the child your sister left?" "Yes," answered Diti. "I'm taking her up to Uncle, where she must stay." "The child? Stay up there with Uncle? You must be out of your senses, Diti. How can you think of such a thing? The old man, however, will soon send you and your proposal packing off home again." I think everyone believes that this is not a good idea for a child to be sent to an old uncle. Well, let's see what else is said. "He cannot very well do that, seeing that he is her grandfather. He must do something for her. I have had the charge of the child till now, and I can tell you, Barbel, I am not going to give up the chance which has just fallen to me of getting a good place for her sake. It is for the grandfather now to do his duty by her." Pardon me. Something itches. Sorry. Excuse me. Okay, back to the story. "That would be very well if he were like other people," asseverated stout Barbel warmly. "But you know what he is. At La Chanara, she is going to gossip. What can he do with a child, especially with one so young? The child cannot possibly live with him. Cannot possibly. No. But where are you thinking of going yourself?" "To Frankfurt, where an extra good place awaits me," answered Diti. "The people I am going to were down at the baths last summer, and it was part of my duty to attend upon their rooms. They would have liked then to take me away with them, but I could not leave. Now they are there again and have repeated their offer, and I intend to go with them. You may make up your mind up to that." She sounds determined. "I am glad I am not the child," exclaimed Barbel with a gesture of horrified pity. "Not a creature knows anything about the old man up there. He will have nothing to do with anybody, and never sets his foot inside a church from one year's end to another. When he does come down once in a while, everybody clears out of the way for him with him and his big stick. The mere sight of him with his bushy gray eyebrows and his immense beard is alarming enough." Sounds like Father Christmas, doesn't he? "He looks like any old heathen or Indian, and few would care to meet him alone." Okay, so he looks like a heathen. Maybe Father Christmas looks like one too. "Well, and what of that?" said Diti in a defiant voice. "He is the grandfather all the same, and must look after the child. He is not likely to do her any harm, and if he does, he will be answerable for it, not I." "I should very much like to know," continued Barbel, in an inquiring tone of voice, "what the old man has on his conscience that he looks as he does, and lives up there on the mountain like a hermit, hardly ever allowing himself to be seen." Sorry, I'm tired. I was sick. That's why my voice is like this. "All kinds of things are said about him. Oh, those people are just so busy gossiping. You, Diti, however, must certainly have learnt a good deal concerning him from your sister. Am I not right?" "You are right, I did. But I am not going to repeat what I heard. If it should come to his ears, I should get into trouble about it." Now, Barbel had for a long time past been most anxious to ascertain particulars about Uncle, as she could not understand why he seemed to feel such hatred towards his fellow creatures, and insisted on living all alone, or why people spoke about him half in whispers, as if afraid to say anything against him, and yet unwilling to take his part. Moreover, Barbel was in ignorance as to why all the people of Dorfley called him Alm Uncle, for he could not possibly be uncle to everyone living there. As, however, it was custom, she did like the rest and called the old man uncle. Barbel had not... I'm having difficulty reading today. Tomorrow, maybe perhaps next time I'll wear glasses. Barbel had only lived in Dorfley since her marriage, which had taken place not long before. Previous to that... Oh, pardon me. Previous to that, her home had been below in Protegau, so that she was not well acquainted with all the events that had ever taken place, and with all the people who had ever lived in Dorfley and its neighborhood. Diti, on the contrary, had been born in Dorfley and had lived there with her mother until the death of the latter the year before, and had then gone over to the baths at Ragatz and taken service in the large hotel there as a chambermaid. On the morning of this day she had come all the way from Ragatz with the child, a friend having given them a lift in a hay cart as far as Mayenfeld. Barbel was therefore determined not to lose this good opportunity of satisfying her curiosity. She put her arm through Diti's in a confidential sort of way and said, "I know I can find out the real truth from you, and the meaning of all these tales that are afloat about him. I believe you know the whole story. Now do just tell me what is wrong with the old man, and if he was always shunned, as he is now, and was always such a misanthrope." "How can I possibly tell you whether he was always the same, seeing as I am only 26 and he at least 70 years of age, so you can hardly expect me to know much about his youth. If I was sure, however, that what I tell you would not go the whole round of Protegau, I could relate all kinds of things about him. My mother came from Domschlag, and so did he." "Nonsense, Diti, what do you mean?" replied Barbel, somewhat offended. "Gossip has not reached such a dreadful pitch in Protegau as all that, and I am also quite capable of holding my tongue when it is necessary." Oh, the gossips, oh, the gossips. They just love to keep busy waggling their tongue, don't they? That's not in the book. Okay, that's just from me. "Very well, then, I will tell you, but just wait a moment," said Diti in a warning voice, and she looked back to make sure that the child was not near enough to hear all that she was going to relate. But the child was nowhere to be seen. Oh my, what has happened to Heidi? She must have turned aside from following her companions some time before, while these were too eagerly occupied in their conversation to notice it. Diti stood still and looked around her in all directions. The footpath wound a little here and there, but could nevertheless be seen along its whole length nearly to Dorfley. No one, however, was visible upon it at the moment. "I see where she is," exclaimed Barbel. "Look over there," and she pointed to a spot far away from the footpath. "She is climbing up the slope yonder with the goatherd and his goats. I wonder why he's so late today bringing them up. It happens well, however, for us, for he can now see after the child, and you can the better tell me your tale." Oh, the gossips. "Oh, as to the looking after," remarked Diti, "the boy need not put himself out about that. She is not by any means stupid for her 5 years, and knows how to use her eyes. She notices all that is going on, as I have often had occasion to remark, and this will stand her in good stead some day, for the old man has nothing beyond his 2 goats and his hut." "Did he ever have more?" asked Barbel. "He? I should think so indeed," replied Diti with animation. "He was owner once of the largest farms in Domschlag. I don't know how to say it. He was the elder of 2 brothers.